The Race Beat. The Press, the Civil Rights Struggle, and the Awakening of a Nation, written by Gene Roberts and Hank Klibanoff in 2006, delves into the transformative power of news stories, editorials, and photographs in the American press, as well as the journalists responsible for them, during the civil rights movement in the 1950s and 1960s. Through the use of private correspondence, covert meeting notes, unpublished articles, and interviews, the authors shed light on the nation's shameful shortcomings and how they spurred citizens into action. Roberts and Klibanoff meticulously traced the progression of press coverage surrounding civil rights issues in the southern United States, commencing with the publication of Gunnar Myrdal's An American Dilemma in 1944 and concluding with the assassination of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in 1968. Although Myrdal, a Swedish economist, was not a journalist himself, he recognized the pivotal role that the American press played in shaping race relations. Myrdal believed that honest and widespread dissemination of information was the most potent remedy against racial discrimination. He held the belief that if white Americans were fully aware of the facts, they would be more inclined to grant better treatment to African Americans. During this period, the authors highlight the vital role played by the black press in mobilizing protests across the United States. The black press made significant contributions by covering instances of escalating brutality, such as lynching, and exposing efforts to undermine the political and economic progress achieved during the Reconstruction era. However, Roberts and Klibanoff argue that for the protests to be effective, the mainstream white press needed to confront racial discrimination head-on and provide unflinching and continuous coverage, ensuring that white Americans outside of the South could no longer ignore the harsh realities faced by African Americans. The emergence of white supremacy, segregation, and black disfranchisement in conflict with the conscience of the American people marked a turning point, as highlighted by the authors. This realization unfolded over the 2 decades following World War II. Initially, the mainstream press was slow to grasp the significance of the civil rights movement. In fact, it wasn't until 1955 that John Popham, a reporter from the New York Times, was designated as the sole correspondent covering the South for a national newspaper, despite having reported on Southern news since 1947. However, with groundbreaking Supreme Court decisions and escalating racial tensions in the mid-1950s, the press and the American public could no longer turn a blind eye to the events unfolding in places like Little Rock and Montgomery. The battle between civil rights activists and staunch segregationists, which intensified after the Brown v. Board of Education ruling, became the most captivating domestic news story in America. Nevertheless, the authors note that coverage of the civil rights issue often remained confined to the inner pages of newspapers, while the front pages were dominated by electoral politics and the Cold War drama playing out on the international stage. As the authors trace the evolution of the national press, they primarily focus on the coverage of legal challenges to segregation, particularly those related to public facilities and schools. One significant milestone in journalism was the press coverage of the trial surrounding the tragic murder of 14-year-old Emmett Till, whose perpetrators were 2 white men. The case drew a large number of both white and black journalists to the South. Noteworthy journalists mentioned by the authors include Harry Ashmore, Ralph McGill, Harding Carter Jr., Buford Boone, Lenoir Chambers, Bill Baggs, and Hazel Brannon Smith, who consistently advocated for national unity through their writing. The authors make sure to highlight a particular scene involving NBC's John Chancellor during his visit to the Mississippi Delta to gather reactions following the 1956 verdict of the Emmett Till trial. Chancellor, fearing for his safety but driven by the need to uncover the truth, raised his microphone to his tape recorder, effectively calming down an angry mob. This incident exemplified the author's emphasis on the importance of revealing the truth through journalism. In addition to the journalistic coverage, the book explores discussions surrounding Black American identity, including references to influential journals and magazines such as Opportunity and Crisis, associated with the Harlem Renaissance. These discussions extended beyond journalism, involving white individuals, women, poets, writers, labor movements, and the Communist Party. The book concludes by summarizing the fragmented efforts made towards achieving a unified national purpose regarding the issue of race in post-1965 America. The authors note the shift in rhetoric, exemplified by the rise of Black power and the adoption of new tactics, including the potential use of violence. They also highlight the significance of the emergence of Black nationalism through the speeches of figures like Malcolm X and the Black Panthers. Drawing upon oral history, interviews, theses, dissertations, periodicals, books, and archives, Roberts and Klibanoff address a crucial gap in the discussion of the civil rights movement. Through their comprehensive research, they remind readers, living in today's media-saturated world, of the profound impact and power that the press holds in inspiring change. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.